He's the guy who also wants to replace every civil servant, every single one. Thinks he has a right under the Supreme Court ruling on immunity to be able, if need be, if it was the case, to actually physically eliminate, shoot, kill someone who he believes to be a threat to. I mean, so I know this sounds bizarre. It sounds like if I said this 5 years ago, you'd lock me up. We got to lock him up.
Uh-oh. Biden just accidentally suggested that Trump should be locked up, but he does, to his credit, try to clarify. Let's see if he does a good job. Take a look.
Political document. Lock him out. That's what we have to do.
Okay, so he clarifies. It's clear. He says politically lock him up. Look, I don't think that what happened there was a sign of his mental decline. I mean, when you're speaking off the cuff, sometimes you misspeak, and then he immediately clarified. So I don't want to be too hard on him for that moment, but it didn't work out in Kamala Harris's favor because, of course, the Trump campaign capitalized on it. They used it to their advantage. And I want to show you what I mean. So the Trump War Room on Twitter posted, Joe Biden just said the quiet part out loud. We got to lock President Trump up. And, if you've paid any attention to Trump's campaigning, what he's been doing is, of course, making himself out to be a victim of lawfare, someone that the Democratic Party wants to throw in prison. And to be fair to Trump, there have been prominent Democrats who have talked about wanting to throw him in prison. It's just that this particular campaign event was not an example of it. Now, Biden's fumble came as he was speaking in New Hampshire this week on Tuesday. And now current and former administration officials are basically trashing him. Okay, so just pause and absorb what I just said. Current and former Biden administration officials are now trashing him. Okay. So Alex Thompson, who's a reporter over at Axios, mentioned that a former Biden official texted him and said some pretty damn harsh stuff. Okay, so noting this could be politically unhelpful to Harris, a former Biden administration official texts me, quote, "We got to lock Joe up." And then he followed that up with someone who's currently in the Biden administration. A counterpoint from a current Biden administration official, for better or worse, no one is listening to him anymore, and his words have little power and less reach. It's a blip, gone in any meaningful way by midday tomorrow, if it makes it that long. Okay, that's also not a good thing to say, because remember, Joe Biden is currently the president of the United States. And when you put out a statement about how no one listens to him, like no one takes this guy seriously anyway, yeah, that doesn't really inspire a lot of faith in Americans that the country is being led by the person who got elected in 2020. So that was a stupid statement to put out, but they did it. And it's a current Biden administration official. Now, to her credit, Harris isn't playing into the lock him up chance. Apparently, there was a recent campaign stop where some of the rally goers started chanting lock him up, meaning lock Trump up. And here's what Kamala Harris said. She stopped it. And she says, hold on, the courts are going to handle that part of it. What we're going to do is beat him in November. And then the crowd went wild and cheered. Now, I want to talk a little bit about something that's come out as a result of Bob Woodward's latest book, War, where he basically details how Biden's behavior at donor events all the way back to last summer, the summer of 2023, were concerning to the donors. They were worried about his mental fitness. So a full year before the American people were aware of just how bad Biden's mental decline was as a result of that horrible debate performance, you have the richest people in this country, Democratic donors, fully aware of how concerning his condition was. How is that right? I mean, think about that. It would have been far better for everyone to know the truth earlier. It would have been far better for Biden to not run for a second term and to allow for a robust primary process so the best possible candidate would be the Democratic nominee running against Donald Trump. But we didn't get that opportunity. And we didn't get that opportunity because a lot of people provided cover for Biden and lied on his behalf. So let's go to some excerpts from his book. The first fundraiser hosted by Kevin Scott, the chief technology officer of Microsoft, at his home in Los Gatos on June 19th, was attended by 38 guests, including some of the most serious/wealthy Democratic donors in the Valley. The event raised $2.7 million for Biden's reelection fund. Guests, however, said that Biden was frighteningly awful. It was like your 87-year-old senile grandfather wandering around the room saying to women guests, "Your eyes are so beautiful." A donor acknowledged he had probably woken up very early, but appeared tired. He could not wait to sit down and only took 2 prearranged questions. He carried a handful of note cards with the answers printed out, but even then seemed to wander off point. But Biden was allegedly very energetic at another event later that day. I don't know what happened, but the people who were at that event claimed that he seemed perfectly fine. But then there were other troubling signs about a week later, according to Bob Woodward's book, War. So there was another fundraiser that took place on June 27th, 2023. Guests described their interactions with Biden as painful. Great. So Bill Reichblum, who's a co-founder and president of Liberty's Journal Foundation, who attended the event, said that he never completed a sentence. He would start to talk about something, jump somewhere else. He told the same story 3 times in exactly the same way, and it meandered so much. Frankly, my impression was there were times it was as though that we didn't exist. Jesus, so bad. He was just rambling and talking as to what came into his head. Biden seemed to him like an elderly grandparent or a parent who talks and talks but makes no sense. And so I want to know why all the people who lied to us in the press haven't been fired. I'm being serious. I'm not kidding. And I usually don't call for people to be fired because I don't want people's livelihoods to be in jeopardy. But usually I'm talking about normal people, not incredibly wealthy individuals like the hosts of Morning Joe, who lied to us, who in fact continued to lie to us even after that horrible debate performance. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, why don't we take a look at Mika Brzezinski from Morning Joe, who immediately downplayed Joe Biden's horrific campaign performance, debate performance. Let's take a look.
President Biden let every fastball hanging out over the plate go right by for a strike for Donald Trump. So that was an indication that he was just not up to it last night.
Yeah. Okay, hold on a second. That I agree with everything you said, except for the last part of it. Everybody calm down, and I'll tell you why. I mean, it's fine to not spin what happened last night, and we're not going to.
But by the way,
he had a terrible night.
Mika, everybody's calm here.
No,
you're the only one raising your voice. Everybody is calm here.
But again, it's the let's just immediately pull this. Let's end this. Let's find someone else.
Yeah, they should have. They should have immediately found someone else. And by found someone else, Biden should have immediately stepped down. Look, I get it was his decision to make, and there had to be a tremendous amount of pressure for him to do that. But it would take him a month to finally make the correct decision. And what he basically did is kneecap his replacement candidate, because that was another month of campaigning. That was another month that maybe there could have actually been, some sort of primary process where voters would get to decide. But here we are. I mean, it's just so frustrating that people still watch that show and take these people seriously. Now, Mika and Joe tried to provide cover for Biden repeatedly. That wasn't the only example. Take another look.
By the way, it's very funny. David Axelrod a couple nights ago was going through when Joe Biden spoke on Sunday night, he cut a word off. And David Axelrod, of course, had to bring that up.
And then got someone's name wrong.
And then got somebody's name wrong. So does David Axelrod need to get off of TV? I mean, this happens. Media people keep going, oh, Joe Biden confused names. Then they throw to somebody and they confuse a name.
We know we do that. But then he also in that news conference talked about his.
How do people take them seriously at all? But it's not just Mika and Joe. I mean, Mika's got a personal relationship with Joe Biden, and she allowed that personal relationship to get in the way of being honest and truthful with her audience. You know, it's interesting because I know of an actual journalist who recently was let go from a big publication, New York Magazine, for having a personal relationship that she didn't disclose. And that personal relationship, upon review of her work, had no impact on her reporting. Everything she reported was accurate and truthful. She got fired anyway. Yes, I'm talking about Olivia Nuzzi. She gets fired. Mika Brzezinski lied on behalf of her friend. She's still employed. People trust her. And if you trust her, man, I've got a bridge to sell you. Amazing. But they're not the only ones. Here's Lawrence O'Donnell weighing in on Biden's mental health after he gave a speech at a NATO conference. Take a look.
What followed was nothing less than the most masterful, televised presidential press conference about foreign policy. There have been other presidential press conferences that have exhibited mastery at different points by some presidents, but on foreign policy, complex foreign policy, involving the Middle East and the situation in Ukraine, this is as good as it gets.
I can't. I really can't. Like, how do people watch this garbage? Total slop. I mean, they lied to you. They lied to all of us. I mean, I knew they were lying as they were doing it. We covered these videos and we were outraged by it. But did they think they were helping the Democrats? They weren't helping the Democrats. Just so utterly pathetic.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.